team. We are, alhamdulillah, by the grace of Almighty, that we are one of the best cricketing nation in the world, even facing so many difficulties. Even then we proved that. And we proved that few months back. So we have to go according to that. Planning, strategy, determination. I tell you what, if these three things, they come into play, this team will look totally different.
We're going to leave it at that. Mohsin Khan Saab, thank you very much for speaking to us. Zadi Saab, because Pakistan have been losing, let's talk about their batting first. They've been doing some odd things with their batting lineup. And if it had worked, then we would have said, wow, great. But unfortunately for them, it didn't work. So that, then it's easier to criticize, I guess. Opening with Fahim Ashraf in one of the games in the one-dayers, that didn't work out. And then in this game, sending Mohammad Nawaz in at number 3. We all know that he backs up the order for his domestic side. But again, to experiment in the first game on a tricky wicket against a New Zealand bowling attack was probably, we were asking Nawaz to do a little bit too much. What are your thoughts on that?
Ali, you are very right analyzing this. My own contention is that these matches are being played between number 1 team and number 2 team. And I was expecting quality cricket. But unfortunately, the way Pakistan lost the first game of T20, first T20, I never thought it will be so easy for the Kiwis to defeat Pakistan. But as you said, our batsmen, they were going very well in the Champions Trophy. And just after 3-4 months, I read somewhere that what they should have done is that they should have prepared for this tour, which most probably they didn't. There should have been a camp. I don't think there had been any camp for this tour. Well, that is some of the these are some of the reasons that I think the batsmen, the young batsmen, they are not in a position to face whether it is Henry or Boult or Saudi or Ferguson. Well, they have been dominating them. My biggest worry is, you were talking about the pitches, and Mohsin was also talking that these are not pitches like Pakistan. Biggest worry for me is that when we are going to go to England and play cricket there, we are going to play on the similar wickets like ones in New Zealand. What will we do there?
One of the reasons why I keep saying that, yes, of course, Junaid Khan was obviously missed because he partners Mohammad Amir with the new ball, and Pakistan weren't doing well enough, or weren't doing well at all with the new ball in the ODI series. But in the last 3 one-day internationals, you saw the ball was turning and it wasn't really coming on to the bat, which is why Kane Williamson, it was at the 4th game, I believe, got bowled 10 overs and got 2 wickets, which is why we were missing Imad and Hafiz. But unfortunately, Imad wasn't there and Hafiz can't bowl anymore. In England, now, you saw the Champions Trophy. The pitches have changed a little bit. It's not those seaming conditions that you're going to get. You can hit through the line there. And I think it might be a little easier playing in England, especially white ball cricket for the Pakistanis.
Yes, you might be right. But on the other hand, why don't we prepare wickets which are not that batting friendly? They should be fastish wickets. Faster than what we...
Bouncy wickets.
Bouncy
more
wickets.
Than anything else. Because again, what's troubled Pakistan more? It's not so much the swing. Because now you look of late, at least in the recent past, over the last 5 years maybe, you've gotten seaming wickets in domestic cricket.
But
green tops.
Yesterday,
what you need is bouncy wickets, because that's what's troubled the Pakistanis more than
where the ball
else.
kicks up.
Yeah.
And it becomes difficult for Pakistani batsmen to play those deliveries.
Look, it's very simple, Zadi Sab. Over the years, do Pakistan have a better record in England or in Australia?
Neither in Australia.
But overall, over the years, where have they won Test series? In England or Australia? In England, right?
Yes, we did it
in England. You haven't done it in Australia yet. So that's the point I'm trying to make. England is more famous for seaming wickets, where the ball does a little bit early on. Over the years, it has been. In Australia, there's not so much seam. You get bounce there. That's what's always troubled the Pakistanis, and it continues to trouble the Pakistanis.
But we have been winning the series in Kiwi land too. You start from 70s when Mushtaq Muhammad took the side there. We won the Test series there. We won the one-day internationals. Then going on, New Zealand has been a good hunting ground for Pakistan.
You're right about that. I mean, that's for a couple of reasons. One, because Australia have more often than not had a better side than New Zealand, number one. Number two, if you go back a little bit, even in the 80s and the early 90s and the mid 90s, the New Zealand wickets were quite flat and dull. And Wasim and Waqar managed in Hamilton got the ball to reverse and bowled New Zealand out for under 100 when they were only chasing 126 or 127, something like that. They got the ball to reverse. Why? Because the pitch was drier and the square wasn't lush. Things have changed now in New Zealand.
But I agree with what Mohsin Khan was saying. Well, it was extraordinary sight to see. In over number 6 or 7, the ball was turning.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the match at Hamilton.
Yeah, it's also good. Yeah, and Ish Sodhi, by the way, is in T20 cricket at least, is one of the best in the world. So yeah, Pakistan are going to have to rethink a lot.
The situation may not be same in Auckland, I think.
Yeah, so but Nawaz coming in at number 3 and having Haris Sohail in there as well, who's more of a traditional batsman, and I'm not sure he's a T20 batsman. That's something that the Pakistanis need to think about. I think there's too much of a mishmash going on here. Let's try this. Let's see if it works. I think some of these batsmen aren't really suited to T20 cricket.
Ali, no doubt the next 2 matches are going to be very, very toughly fought matches by 2 sides. But what I foresee is that the ODI tournament, which is going to take place in the next week, we should take it very, very seriously. And we should look at the youngsters, their performances, and how can they cope situations like this. Well, that is a very, very important tournament for Pakistan.
Right. Let's move on now to the Under-19 World Cup. The Pakistanis have been doing quite well there. They lost their first game against Afghanistan, but then they came back strongly, so much so that they're in the quarterfinals and they'll be facing off against the South Africans. We're going to be brief here, Zadisa, because we've got a second segment to get to. Exciting stuff. This is a very talented Pakistani side. There's some fine batsmen in there. Their opener, Zaid, seems to be very promising. He did very well against the Australians before the Under-19 World Cup started in Australia. But everybody's talking about the left armer, Shaheen Shah Afridi, who looks very, very good.
He's one player I'm waiting to see him in, giving performances in this World Cup. The second one is Antini's son. Well, he's an all-rounder and he is performing very well for South Africa Under-19. He's the second player I'm really waiting to see him, and by chance both the players will be contesting against each other in the same match.
I remember you watching Under-19 World Cups. I remember Ravinder Jadeja playing in Under-19 World Cup, Sarfaraz Ahmed, Virat Kohli, and Kagiso Rabada, who is now the #1 Test match bowler in the world. So that's why it's always exciting to watch the Under-19
And the
World Cup.
biggest thing was that when I read that Antini was not a fast bowler like his father, he's a slow bowler, but he's a batsman too. I think Antini must have thought over that I was never a batsman who always played one delivery, but now I'm going to produce a youngster who is going to score runs too.
The fabulous bowler was Makai Antini, but not much of a batsman, and I think he'll admit that as well. But yeah, more on this quarterfinal that's coming up. As I said, all eyes will be on Pakistan, but particularly the left armour, because a lot of people, even before this Under-19 World Cup, believe that Shaheen Shah Afridi will play for Pakistan at some point. It's only a matter of time.
I think Waqar and Wasim should look at his bowling. They should look after him, because fitness is the biggest issue for fast bowlers. So if he remains fit and bowls around 145 to 150k, I think it will be a great honor for Pakistan to have another fast bowler.
Well, again, but this is the point I'm trying to make here, Zadi Saab, is that now, this is not the 70s or the 80s. There's a lot of cricket going on, which is why fast bowlers now, even before they've made their debut or just coming into international, or if they're just coming into international cricket, they have a choice to make. They have to try and figure out what type of bowlers they want to be. Do they want to be white ball specialists, or do they want to play test match cricket and at the end of their career have 400 wickets? Because there's no way, if you play all 3 formats of the game, there's no way you're consistently going to bowl at 145, 150 Ks. So I hope if Shaheen Shah Afridi does play for Pakistan, that we look after him well, because we have been guilty of not looking after of not looking after our fast bowlers in the past. Final thoughts, Zaidi Saab, then we have to wrap up.
Well, the match is going to be real tough one, and South Africans have got a slight edge on Pakistan because they have got better institutions to groom their youngsters. And on the other hand, Pakistan are always mercurial. You can expect anything from them. Well, seesaw match.
Right. We're going to leave it at that. Yeah, Zaidi Saab, thank you very much for coming on the show. It was a pleasure.